97.9 FM.
Hi, 97.9, where we been the hottest hip hop and R&B. I'm your girl, Shani Sweets. The sweetest little thing in your ear. Now, look, usually at this time I'll do my player of the day, but we got somebody in the studio with us who's gonna be the player of the day naturally. Okay, so I want you guys to stick around right now. Listen up. Inside Pretty Girl Playbook, I have Miss Sharita Walton, candidate for District Attorney of Wake County. She's here with us, and she's going to give us a little bit about, what she has going on and what you can look forward to. So how are you?
Hey, Shani, how are you? Thank you
I'm
so
good.
much for having me. I appreciate it.
You can pull that down a little bit.
All right.
There you go. Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. We're glad that you're here. I've been hearing that you were coming, so I'm really excited for you to kind of expand on what you are doing and you running for DA and all the things. So tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Well, I am from New York originally. I have been here in North Carolina for almost 10 years. I'm not new to North Carolina. When I was small, I pretty much spent just about every summer as a kid in North Carolina, staying with my grandma. My mom, she worked a lot. And as soon as school finished, my brother and I were on the first plane or train.
Yeah,
coming to North Carolina and spending the summer here, specifically in Harnett County.
Yeah.
And when my husband and I, our children were young at the time, over 10 years at this point, we decided we wanted our kids to kind of have that same experience on a more permanent basis, to have the open out air, the sense of safety. And we wanted our kids to grow up like I did,
during the summers.
Exactly.
That's really dope. I'm like a mix of New York and Alabama. So my mom's from the Bronx, my dad's from Alabama, and then I lived in Connecticut for a while. And so I used to do the same thing with the traveling. But for me, it was either way. It depends on where. Sometimes I'll be coming from the South and I'll go travel to New York to, do the summer or visit, in Connecticut, or I was up there and I would travel, and I was doing it young, even by myself. I lived in Atlanta and I would take the Greyhound to my grandma's house. It was an hour, but I would take the Greyhound to my grandma's house in Alabama and be there for the whole entire summer. Oh, yeah. And because my mom worked a lot as well, and then we were in, I think, Atlanta that summer when I was doing that, so it was just easier for me to just go down here.
And I would literally kick and scream coming down here, but once I was here, it was great. It was you'd be able to run around. You didn't have as many restrictions, so it was definitely a great sense of safety, perceived safety, and so I really enjoyed it, and I wanted that for my kids. And so that was a big part of the decision.
So Raleigh is city, but it's country.
Yeah. I mean, Wake County made the most sense. I mean, Harnett County is great, but we wanted to be in a place where it was, not too big, but certainly not too small, and certainly wanted to have a diverse community for our kids to grow up in. So Wake County was the perfect mix.
Gotcha.
And I truly am enjoying my time here so far. So.
I love that. So why are you running for DA?
All right, well, appreciate that. I have been an attorney for over 22 and a half years at this point. Certainly started my legal career in New York. I was a prosecutor at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office after my stint working in the private sector doing defense work as well, particularly representing individuals who are the subject of white-collar criminal investigations. Worked at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office for almost 8 years before moving to North Carolina, and I was able to kind of pick that right back up and be a prosecutor in the Wake County District Attorney's Office under the current DA Lauren Freeman.
Okay.
And for the last 4.5 years, I've worked as a legal advisor to the Raleigh Police Department. Kind of pivoted after 2020, after the a lot of social tension between police and what was going on in 2020. So wanted to be somewhere where I could make a positive impact, and so I was fortunate to be able to work in the Raleigh Police Department as their legal advisor. So what kind of happened this year, running for DA was not on my bucket list.
Right.
It was not something that I had anticipated doing starting the year off, but the current district attorney, Ms. Freeman, reached out and told me that she was not going to be running for district attorney and encouraged me to run.
Okay.
And that triggered something for me. It triggered deep reflection for me in terms of what I could bring to this role.
Right.
And certainly her having experienced and been in that role for, more than a couple decades, recognizing the challenges and what would be important to bring to that role. Her coming to me was certainly a big factor.
Yeah.
But really for me, it was what I could bring to the role of district attorney.
What are some of your priorities?
So some of my priorities include public safety and public trust. And I get that based off of having the experience that I've experienced, the varied experience being a defense attorney, having the experience as a prosecutor, not only in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, but also in the Wake County District Attorney's Office. And now, working with law enforcement, how important public safety obviously is. And, we came down here to be safe. So public safety is a really important priority. Certainly want to make sure that we're prosecuting cases that threaten the safety of our community and keep that at the heart of the work that we do. But at the same time, making sure that we are being intentional about earning the community's trust.
Yes.
Because ultimately, we cannot be effective if we don't have the trust of the community that we serve.
Exactly.
And so having those things at play all the time and being conscious about those things all the time is really, really important. And given my well-rounded experience, professional and lived, I understand the interplay between both and how important it is to be intentional about doing it. And community is big for me,
I love that.
And so I want to be a DA who is very connected to the community that we serve. And that's going to look more than just being in the office, but actually going out of the office and connecting with community so they understand what the district attorney that represents them do.
Right.
And they understand the work and what's going on in that office and how hard the DA is working.
I think that is really important, to be able to shed light and be transparent about what the job actually is. A lot of times in our communities, you the police, and that's it. We don't really get into the different parts of it until you, unfortunately, just depending on what your situation is, actually have someone like a lawyer or anything like that because of, defending you on your behalf. We don't really get into the technical words and jobs and skills of who it is that's protecting us, who it is that we're trusting. So it's really, really great that you are implementing not only protecting the public, but also giving the public something that they can start trusting into, especially with everything
knowledge
that has
is power.
Absolutely. And so when is the election for the DA race?
March 3rd is the primary. So essentially what that means is that on that day, the Democratic candidates will be on the ballot, and whoever comes out from that particular election will then go on to the general election in November.
Okay. Well, look, you guys, you need to go to www.WaltonforWake.com. That's WALTON4Wake.com. And she has Facebook, Sharita Walton for Wake District Attorney. That's SHERITA. Sharita Walton for Wake District Attorney on Facebook. And let the people know one last thing before you head out of here.
Yeah, I think it's important, coming to this role, understanding that our criminal justice system is not one-dimensional. It impacts so many different people, not only victims, but it impacts the defendant and it impacts the community as a whole.
Right.
So I come into this space having the perspective of so many different angles within our justice system so that I will be in a position to meet the diverse demands of our community.
Got you. I love that. And then just being a Black woman and going the miles that you have went, to the extent that you have went, I really commend you on that. So thank you once again for coming and talking to us. I had 97.9 family. We're inside the Pretty Girl Playbook. Go to www.WaltonforWake.com. Inform yourselves. And the election is March the 3rd. You got to get her in there so she can win again in November.
I appreciate y'all. Thanks so much.
You already know what's going on. We're going to keep things rocking. I got Country Girl coming up next right here on Hot 97.9.